I hope you come up with a solution soon.
Hey, how are you holding up?
I'm doing my best, thanks. Just trying to come to terms with it. I mean, dying? Seems so surreal, you know?
I can't believe it's true either. There has to be a way to prevent it. And I know we'll find it.
Yeah. Let's not lose hope.
Are you settling in? You joined us at a difficult moment. Believe me, before I got here, I've seen some of the most unfriendly places to live on our home planet. Not much can put me off. Want to know what really impresses me? The variety of walks of life in this base, all belonging to one man. It's amazing how different we are. Yeah, guess I got used to it by now. I don't think I ever will. I noticed something else, too. The others. They have a lot of common memories, many things that they can relate to, but me? I seem to be different. More different, I mean. I think it must be because I branched away at some much earlier point in time. When do you think that was? I don't know. But you all stayed with our parents. For better or worse, I didn't. I ran away from home when I was a teenager. Seriously. Why? What happened? You know how it was at home. Never really nice. But one day, I just couldn't take it anymore. I had an ugly row with Dad. Again. He told me I was useless. Again. And Mom? I loved her, but she was so passive in it all. All I knew was that I wanted to be somewhere else. I had a friend by that time, so I packed my stuff and went to live with Edgar. Edgar, a retired doctor, my mentor. He worked down the streets of the slum district I ventured to, distributing food and medicine to the needy. Took me under his roof and taught me that however much you do for others, there's always room for you to become a better person. You just have to see it. Sounds like a wise man. No wonder you preferred hanging around with him than with Pops. It's not that simple, but yeah. He gave me a sense of direction. Living for others. Freeing yourself from material needs and desires. Free from desires? Does that mean you're some sort of monk? No, Jan. Far from it. In fact, I was just going to approach you about something very human. Go on. Well, you see, I look around and I see amazing people, us, a unique group of extraordinary individuals. But what are we mostly preoccupied with? Efficiency. Scurrying and hurrying to get things done, prosaic tasks, repetitive activities. Even if we entertain ourselves, it's for a purpose. We never pause because we're so afraid to die. But eventually, we will die anyway, right? Of course, but it does make a difference if we die now or later. Who knows? Maybe it makes more of a difference if we die happy or not. The only thing certain is the present moment, Jan. And I know one thing. We're not cherishing it enough. How can we cherish it? We can stop for a second and enjoy something special together. Let me prepare a feast for our group to feed not just the body, but the soul. Make everyone feel that even if their material life has to end, their existence will be timeless. A feast to celebrate our mortality and let go of our fear. What do you say? Okay. And what would you need to prepare such a feast? Don't worry, not much. I'm used to running a mass kitchen with only the basic ingredients. But I like to experiment with some recipes first. So I guess I'd like to ask you for some time and a decent amount of fresh greenhouse produce. All right, let me see what I can do. Thank you. Let me know when I can start experimenting. Hey, how are you holding up? It's, all very confusing. Things are happening so quickly. I've just woken up to this strange reality and now... death? I thought I was prepared for it when I applied for this mission, but it doesn't make any sense. Hey man, what's with the long face? Don't worry about it. Why not? Come on. What usually cheers you up? I don't know, man. Maybe catching up with someone I helped. Being appreciated for my efforts. Hey, you're a popular guy, even among our little group. Just so you know, I wasn't fishing for compliments. But I am glad to hear that. Looks like I'm done. Should I go there next?
I sure hope we'll get some treatments.
got this. Damn it. Kidding me? Yes! Damn it. Everything all right with your eyes? good movie.
Hey, Dad. What was it like here? Before?
Before the eighth fall?
Before all of it. In the beginning.
Well, I suppose it's time. Sit, son.
You want me to take care of this?
Man, I'd love to see the blue sky again.
Something's malfunctioning here. Should I change my workstation? Batteries, drills, detectors.
Okay, I'd like you to start testing your recipes. I'd be more than happy to, but I don't think we have enough of that greenhouse produce available just yet. Let me know when you've stocked up. Hello?
Jan, Maxwell here.
It's good to hear you. Things are getting more and more tense in here.
Yeah, I know. Lucas told me everything. I set to work at once analyzing the data you sent. I won't lie to you. This condition you discovered is something never seen before. I can confirm what you probably already suspect. It is highly probable that it is induced by accelerated brain tissue development which your alters have undergone. I am very sorry this has happened, but nobody could have predicted it. As I've said before, you're a pioneer, Jan. Unexpected setbacks come with the job.
Being a builder is my job.
It's the job you signed up for. But it's not who you are anymore, is it? Not just who you are. You've crossed the threshold, and now, I suppose, well, you have to face the trial.
Tell me. I'm ready.
Your heart's in it. That's good. But you'll also need an open mind, because the solution I would like to propose may be a little unsettling.
What would I have to do?
Prepare a treatment based on biological material from a healthy donor.
Donor of what exactly?
Brain cells.
Oh. But isn't it a bit risky to donate brain cells? I mean, don't you need specialist equipment and personnel to do it safely?
But don't worry. You wouldn't be the donor.
What? Why not? I'm the only one who's not affected.
Because it would kill you. It's not blood samples we're talking about, but a significant amount of brain tissue. From the cortex.
So, how did you want me to get it?
There is only one solution. You have Rapidium, Jan. You have the womb. All you need to do is create a copy of your body, but without applying the branching procedure. By leaving its mind records blank, You will create a being with no awareness, no feelings, no thoughts. A biological vessel, if you will. A tabula rasa.
That doesn't sound very nice. But I guess it could work.
It has to work. Just follow the instructions I send you, and you can cure your alters with healthy brain tissue very effectively.
So, tabula rasa is doomed to die.
Oh, I see what worries you. The possible existence of the human factor some people call the soul. Personally, I prefer the word used by Avicenna, essence. You see, Avicenna made a distinction between essence and existence, which he thought was the domain of the accidental, or, as you would put it, the choices that shape us. Essence, on the other hand, is that core of a being which endures, regardless of any circumstances. For Avicenna, essence proved that there was a God who created us. For me, it's a whole new field of study. Just think about it. What if we looked at this essence just like we look at any other aspect of a human being? Its body, mind, emotions, something that can be scientifically observed, trained, even enhanced. Isn't that exactly what you are doing with your alters, Jan?
I'm not experimenting on them. I'm surviving.
Then carry on doing it. All I'm suggesting is that you look at this empty altar's essence in the same way a sculptor looks at a stone that is too brittle to carve in. There's no logical reason to fear dismissing it. Lucas and I went back to our old research to recreate a piece of code we once discarded. One that allowed for a much more flexible approach to erasing human memories. It can serve you to increase the capabilities of the quantum computer and create a tabula rasa version of yourself.
Upgrade the quantum computer. With the use of your banned research, but what about Ally Corp? What about the consequences for me when they find out about all the rules I've broken? A simple builder? I mean, creating my alters is one thing, but this... I could get accused of much bigger violations.
Can I trust you, Jan?
That depends. If I can trust you.
I'm putting a lot at stake for you. Of course you can trust me. Ally Corp doesn't have to know anything. Whatever happens from now on can stay strictly between you and me. I told you that I'd do anything to protect your mission, and I wasn't joking. Follow my instructions, and I'll take care of everything else.
Ally Corp has a big medical department. My ex-wife works there. Are you sure we shouldn't turn to them for help instead of harvesting this biological vessel against the law?
You managed to keep both your wife and her employers at arm's length for so long, and I can only repeat that it was the wisest decision. You need to believe me, it really isn't in your interest, or the interest of your alters, for them to find out. We can do this. Are you with me?
All right. I'll trust you.
Thank you. Let me make one thing clear. My goal isn't to undermine Ally Corp's operations. It's not resentment that drives me. Yes, my career was broken because of their short-sightedness, but I'm not seeking revenge. I just believe that I have a much deeper understanding of the full potential of your mission, and the means to execute this potential. All they could ever do is take the rupidium you found and use it to boost the prices of their shares. Sure, Maybe a few hungry people would benefit as a side effect, but it would all be temporary, insignificant, an opportunity lost. So, no, I'm not against them. But I know that by withholding some information from them, we can achieve so much more. And I'm relieved you feel the same way. Keep me posted on your progress.
Lucas?
Jan? Everything all right?
Yeah, I'm calling with some good news. I managed to build another Rapidium arc.
Wow! Really? That's awesome. I know it might seem boring to you, but I really believe Rapidium can change things. You know? It wasn't always like this. I used to think it was all a big scam, an easy way for corporations to patch their post-crisis budgets with public money.
You need to have more faith in people, Lucas.
I do now. Thanks to you. I started believing again that things can change. Look, I never tell this to anybody, but you should know that back home, my older brother is doing time.
In prison? Seriously?
Yeah. You know how they always catch the little fish? My brother was a good kid, but he was unlucky. Our parents couldn't afford a higher education for us. He had to work, support the family. And where I come from, well, not too many options who you can work for, if you know what I mean. I was lucky. I met Maxwell. He paid my tuition fees.
That really is sad for your brother, but I believe that there's no such thing as no choice.
Of course. He could have let his kids starve. My family used to live off the land, but after water became a luxury, that was no longer possible. And with no education or rich relatives, trust me, alternatives were thin. I'm telling you, I was that close from ending up like him. If it weren't for Maxwell. My grandma says it was a miracle.
How did Maxwell find you?
Simple. He was looking for promising students. And I'd just taken part in a science Olympiad in my country. I had a good result. Very good, actually. And my topic was quantum algorithms. Call it what you want. Destiny. Pure chance. Fact is, Maxwell was going through a tough time in his life too. But that's a whole different story for some other time, maybe.
It was good talking to you.
You too. Good luck. And keep it up, okay? More arcs really could mean a better world. I'll send it out.
Hey there. I talked to Maxwell. It looks like he came up with a cure for your condition. Really? Are you telling me there's hope? Yeah, it's some kind of sophisticated treatment based on healthy brain tissue. Maxwell sent us a formula. Oh. That's ambitious. What do you need me to do? Well, I'll need you to reprogram our quantum computer according to some old piece of code from Maxwell's experiments. He claims it's gonna let us create an awareness-free alter. Awareness-free? The plan is to create a biological vessel from my DNA and extract lots of healthy brain tissue from it. Biological vessel to produce a healthy mutation-free brain. That makes sense. So, you're okay with it? It sounds like a promising idea. Why would I not be okay with it? because it's cruel?
Science is cruel. Survival is cruel. But it's not just about our survival, right? The whole mission is at stake, Jan. That's what Maxwell said. Don't you find it odd that he's so reluctant to consult Alicorp Medical about our problem? It is slightly unsettling, I admit. Are you thinking of talking to them behind his back? I don't know. Maybe it was a mistake to cut Lena off like that. Look, this situation is starting to be a little too emotionally problematic for me. She's your ex, not mine. You decide whether you want to take the risk. Just remember, Maxwell gave us a viable option. Shouldn't we just proceed instead of complicating things? Maybe you're right. I'm overthinking it. Good. Just give me the green light, and I'll start researching that new QC functionality right away. Then we'll take it step by step. Yeah. Okay. Don't worry. We can do this.
Remember when we started working at the warehouse? Thought life had nothing good in store for us? It was tough. But we made it out all right. Both of us.
Lena? Can you hear me?
Jan?
Hi, Lena.
It's surprising to hear you. We didn't end on a good note last time. They told me you complained that I was interfering with your mission.
What? No, I mean, it must have been a misunderstanding.
Well, it sounded very clear to me. So, why don't you just be honest with me? What is going on with you?
You're right. I'm not making this easy. I'll be honest with you from now on, promise.
So, why are you calling now?
It's a medical condition I seem to have developed up here. Don't freak out, but it's some kind of, well, brain mutation.
What?
I said, don't freak out, please.
But didn't you get a proper checkup before leaving? How the fuck is that even possible? What is wrong with this mission? What is wrong with Maxwell?
He's trying to help. He suggested something, but I'm not sure it's gonna work. I could really use a second opinion, and I just thought you could have some ideas.
Okay. Do you have anything you can send me?
Yeah, I've got an MRI scan.
Right. I'll see if I can figure something out.
Thank you, Lena.
Jan, you said Maxwell gave you a solution you didn't like.
Yeah, he did. I don't want to go into the details.
Well, whatever it is, maybe keep it as a backup option, just in case. We don't know how much time you have.
I'll keep it in mind. Thanks.
discuss. Surface exploration vehicle. So this is where you landed. Damn, you look busted. Shame. Could have made good use of you. I need more resources to continue. Should I do this in the meantime? was lying around the turn. Could it be someone was trying to fix it? Awesome. Another movie. Lena?
I think I've got something for you.
Really? What is it?
I got my hands on some tech we've been using for one of our contracts. It seems it can be modified to your needs. It's a neural implant.
What? Oh, no, Lena, I'm not a neurosurgeon, and I only have the basic equipment here.
Oh, relax, okay? It's a tiny, smart device. Inserting it is no harder than vaccinating a kid. I'll send you all the necessary instructions.
Injections. I hate those.
Yeah, you always did. Anyway, it's take it or leave it. I have to say it wasn't easy to crack this one. And we did our best to make it as simple as we could for you.
No, wait. We? Who's we?
I consulted a colleague. He was in charge of deploying this implant for its original use. Nobody knows this tech better than him.
What was the original use?
The client was a big company operating in the private prison sector. They tested it on convicts applying for parole. The implant didn't just track their whereabouts. It also allowed them to control them in other ways. Regulate their levels of anxiety and such. Anyway, we think we can reprogram it to provide other brain treatments. We've worked out an initial formula based on your scan results. The implant will let us apply the formula, but also allow us to react in case anything goes wrong in the future.
Controlling prisoners? Is that what you do now?
I thought you'd be glad. This thing can save your life. Why does it bother you?
I need to tell you something. It's not gonna be easy, but It's time you knew.
Knew what?
I didn't tell you the whole truth when we talked earlier. That the cure isn't for me. Actually, it's for someone else.
You're not alone out there?
No. I did something to survive. I made copies of myself. Human replicas. I swear to you, otherwise I wouldn't have made it on my own.
I'm sorry, Jan. I don't understand. I'm sorry. You did what?
I know, it sounds fucked up, but listen. I have Rapidium and I have a womb, this module. Just think about it. I can make copies of myself. They're called Alters.
Alters, Jan?
Yeah, because I use the quantum computer to alter their life paths, So, yeah, I know this is crazy, but you gotta believe me. They are different versions of me, with different choices they made in life. There's even one who thinks he never divorced you. Can you believe that? He's such a pain in the ass. You'd hate him. Lena, you still with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm sorry that I lied to you, but I didn't want to disturb you.
Well, you fucking did. So, is it them? They need the treatment.
Yeah.
Does Maxwell know about this?
He does, but it's entirely on me, Lena.
Well, he'll have a lot to explain.
No, nobody can find out. At least not for now. You have to understand. I could get in some deep shit.
You're already halfway there. There's no way the people in medical won't notice that the data you're transmitting is coming from multiple patients with the same DNA. They're not stupid, Jan. They're gonna find out about what you did.
Is there no way to prevent that? I mean, I can't risk giving the corporation full access to my Alter's brains. Do you realize how vulnerable it would make them?
I'm sorry. But I don't understand. I thought you created them because you needed help, and suddenly they're in the center of all of this. Honestly, I thought you had other priorities. Look, I'm giving you a simple solution here to go on with your mission and bring Rapidium back to Earth. Yes, it means coming clean to the corporation, and yes, it also means giving them control. But that might actually be a good thing for you. You were never meant to command that mission. Please remember that. Don't put too much weight on your shoulders.
Easy for you to say. You're not the one who's gonna have to convince my Alters to agree to it. It will be hard enough to convince me. I mean, imagine being left to the mercy of a soulless institution for whom you're just a massive inconvenience. A liability.
And you thought what? That you could grant them a long, happy life when you created them? They'd have to be brought to light sooner or later. You can't protect your Alters from who they are. I'm sorry, but if you want to cure them, you'll have to expose them.
Maybe.
Just, please, whatever you do, don't trust Maxwell. I asked around some more, and the rumors are alarming. So I need to do some fact-checking before I share them with you. Why don't you follow the instructions I'll send you? Buy yourself time and let me get back to you, okay?
Yeah. Thanks, Lena.
Good luck.
Okay. Right.
come see me?